injecting a sudo backdoor on Linux and Mac OS with the Bash Bunny, this time on Hak5.
Hello and welcome to Hak5. My name is Darren Kitchen.
My name is Shannon Morse.
It's your weekly dose of Technolust.
Welcome everybody,
to the show that we're not recording for the second time because the first one was out of focus.
Oh man.
That has never, by the way, happened to any other podcasters, ever.
Lies. Well, at least we were recording the audio, so if anything, I could like re-record us just being talking heads on camera and then use our voiceover.
Just meme the whole thing.
Just meme the whole thing. Wow.
Because we've never done that before
Wasn't that Jason
either.
Scott?
Yeah, it was actually.
Oh man, good times.
That was like 2006, bringing it back.
So we are re-recording this episode and we are going to be talking about a really cool Bash Bunny script that somebody wrote and sent in to us, which is really cool. But we should first start off talking about something else. So backdoors, yay, they're fun. They are a mainstay of hacker hijinks, and today we are featuring one of our new favorites for macOS and Linux thanks to a nifty Bash Bunny payload by Oxus. So this is a really great example of not only like a well-written payload that uses some novel techniques to inject code into non-Windows operating systems to take over a sudo command, but he's also got some notes in there, some note-taking, which is excellent. Now, as we know, on Unix-based platforms, including Linux and Mac OS X, for example, or OS X, sudo is a command that allows you to run programs with elevated security privileges. So it's basically the same thing as root, which everybody knows.
Yay, administrator, sudo make me a sandwich.
Okay.
No, sudo make the Hak5 episode.
Okay. Wait, you didn't cancel out the first command. Bye.
No,
you're gonna kill the process.
Nice snubs.
So with a sudo user command or user account, you can basically just do anything you want. You have administrative privileges on that computer. It means super user. Trivia though, sudo originally stood for super user do, but we just call it sudo because we're lazy.
Don't call it sudo. That just sounds weird.
So the payload basically works by swapping out the sudo command with a nefarious version on the target's bash profile. So we have talked before about the .bashrc file or bash profile file. Yeah, exactly. That's when I was just simply like adding aliases, or I'm customizing my shell prompt to be purple instead of green. So check out that series of hack tips if you are new to Bash. Really, really handy. But today we are talking about a Bash Bunny script. So Darren, how does this thing work?
Oh, I'm really excited about this. So let's just check this out. Here it is on the Bash Bunny Payload's GitHub repository, and I can pretty much walk you through it. It's a very well documented payload. It's got a nice, description, the target, the configuration, and the different LEDs and what they mean. But it basically has two parts to it. There's an injector, which is what actually you put on the victim machine, right, on your target computer.
Injector.
Right? And so it injects the pseudo backdoor, if you will.
Okay.
And then it has this cleaner variant where, in fact, I guess you could assign the injector to this and the cleaner to that. The cleaner removes it, which is nice, because in testing, I always love an undo function where you can try it on your box and you're like, okay, now
that's why we have virtual machines.
Right? Snapshot restore.
There you go.
Yeah, so the cleaner not only does it clean it up though, but it also grabs those passwords that it nabbed for you.
Oh, cool.
And it's a novel example of a lot of nifty different elements. So let's just take a look real quick at the injector payload.
Okay.
So this payload.txt, basically, after we kind of do our nice part like commenting our code, does a setup phase where you can basically specify if it's a Mac or not. So by default, it's set up for Linux, and you could change that to true if you wanted to do a Mac. If it is a Mac, it'll go ahead and execute in attack mode ECM, Ethernet, and HID, but it's also going to pass these VIDs and PIDs, which are vendor IDs and product IDs, so that the Mac will be happy. The Linux machine doesn't care.
Right, yeah, I forgot Mac cares about that.
It also sets the ducky language, so if you want, you can just change this to, if you're in Germany, you want that to be DE instead of US, you get the idea. It gets a couple of variables, so the switch position, which is basically getting the number of the position that the switch is in.
Remind me which numbers they are?
1 is furthest back, 3 is closest to the...
I always forget that, so thanks.
Yeah, to the USB port. And 3 is also arming mode.
Okay.
So there you go.
Got it.
And it also gets the IP address of the host. The host in this case is actually the Bash Bunny. Then, from the perspective of the Bash Bunny, it CDs over to, well, basically where the payload is going to live. In fact, if I plug my Bash Bunny in arming mode, we can take a look at that. Then it sets the LED to a special blink.
Special? Okay.
There's all these LED modes or these statuses that are kind of a standardized set of statuses, so that if all the payloads follow the standard kind of like setup, attack, cleanup, finish phase, like then any payload you run, you can be like, oh, it's magenta, it's still setting up, and oh, it's blinking once amber, it's in the attack phase, or blinking twice amber, it's in the second attack phase. That's the idea of those, and special is kind of reserved for when you're doing some extra cool stuff. This extra cool stuff, if you will, I think it is pretty cool, right? Because you want to know where, it's a headless box. Like, mine right now is just blinking blue.
The LEDs are specifically there to give you prompts, so you know exactly where you are in your script. It makes complete sense.
Totally. So if I look at this now, when it's doing that LED special, what it's actually going to be doing is dropping port 53, which is DNS, kind of esoteric and not important for right here. What's really important is this Python TAC-M simple HTTP server 80, and then you put an ampersand at the end. So you know what? It's fun. Since it's just Linux, I'm just going to do this on my own host machine here.
Okay.
And you'll see what happens if I just paste that in, right? So I'm doing Python TAC-M simple HTTP server 80. If I now in Chrome go to localhost : 80, whoops, not 1337. Go figure, I've done this before with that awesome port.
Okay.
Oh,
so
you know
it can't
what?
be reached.
Hang on. You know why it can't?
Why?
Because I didn't do it with sudo. Oh. And any port under 1024 requires sudo to be able to do, which is also why I got a traceback error, because it says permission denied. Let me try that again and actually do this demo with 1337 ampersand. Okay, cool. So that's happening. And now when I go to localhost port 1337, hey, look, it's a directory listing from where you would find this. It's exactly the same files, right? There's my URL snarfs. Here's my URL snarfs. So there we go. In fact, hang on. ps aux grep python. I now need to kill that process, which is 1962, which is very similar to the shirt you're wearing right now. So kill -9.
Well, it's good you're not running as root.
Okay. So now that should be dead. No, it's not dead. I got the PID wrong. You know what? I don't care. I'm going to leave it running because we need to move on. But that's the gist of it. So what I think, though, is really novel here, and one of the reasons why I picked this script in particular, is so it's firing up a web server on the Bash Bunny. That's going to come into play in a minute here. But in order for the payload to continue, it needs to have positive confirmation that web server is actually up and running. And remember, just like Ducky's script, delays are important, right? Because we think about it as humans, like there's those little nuances, like obviously I can't type, 400 megahertz or whatever whatever gigahertz this is, but it's going to execute the next line in the script as soon as it's done, especially considering right here, you see that ampersand? Similar to how I'm now having problems like figuring out what process this is, because it's backgrounded. That's what the ampersand does. It runs this in the background so that it's not blocking the rest of the program from running.
Cool.
Like if I were to run this again on port 1338 without the ampersand, I can keep hitting enter all day long. It's going to continue running this.
Right, it'll keep on running.
Exactly. I go to 1338, there it is. And you see it's blocking. I have to hit Control-C to finally interrupt that. So that's the reason why we don't want our payload to just end here, so we've got that ampersand. And we need to know that it's running, which is why this really cool and novel while loop, thanks to Audible Blink, comes in handy, because basically what this is going to do is say while. Okay, so that means continue doing this until this is true. And in this case, not true. Actually, we're looking for false, hence the exclamation point. Make that a little bigger for you. And it's going to run netcat TAC-Z on localhost. So, so from the perspective of the bunny to itself, it's checking port, well, in this case, port 80. I was doing 1337. And when it doesn't see that, what it's going to do is, so it's saying, hey, I didn't see any, I didn't get a connection to port 80. So what I'm going to do is sleep for 0.2 seconds, so 200 milliseconds, and then done. So what this means is this line is going to continue looping around and around, checking port 80 for a connection. and sleeping for 200 milliseconds until
it actually gets the connection?
Yeah, and then once it gets the connection, it knows the web server is running, and it just continues to the next line.
That's cool.
I thought that was a little, in fact, I think that should probably end up being an extension. That's kind of a story for another time, but I think it's a cute little one-liner. And then the attack can start. You know, LED attack is just letting us know, hey, it's doing the attack. And just like before, you say if it's Mac, do this. And if it's not a Mac, then do this. It's using an extension called run. Run allows you to open up the run dialog on Windows by saying run Windows whatever command. Or run something in a Spotlight by doing run OSX whatever you want. And in this case, run Unity whatever you want. And what do you want to run in Unity? Well, xterm. So this replaces, you know, writing a bunch of ducky script into here by just having one nice little utility that you just say run, specify the target OS and the command you want to run.
Okay.
And then once it has a terminal open, whether it's terminal on OS X or xterm on Unity, it then chooses if it's going to either curl or wget. And what it does is it pulls that file, that back.sh, and pipes it over to sh, your shell.
So this is cool so far, but I'm a little confused about how does the backsh code end up getting injected and executed onto the target computer, or the victim in this case?
Basically, what we're doing is we're using wget or curl, which are both little programs that fetch anything from the World Wide Web, right? And in this case, the web server happens to be on the Bash Bunny itself, and it's going to pipe the output of it into /bin/sh, which is your shell.
Yes.
It could be /bin/bash if you wanted, whatever have you. It's going to be interpreted by that victim computer.
Okay.
So it's saying, hey, it's a stage. You know, so this is the stager.
It's a stage, makes sense.
And it's saying, hey, go reference the second stage, which is over here.
Yeah.
Rather than typing in the entire back.sh. All at once.
Okay.
Because if you actually come back here in the payload, if I come down here, you have your payload.txt, but we also have this back.sh. And this is what's actually getting executed. This entire shell script, which you can see is, I mean, it's only 40.
It's not too long.
It's 42 lines, but to type all of that in would take a lot longer than if you could just reference it and say, hey, go and execute this. From the web.
So now why is the payload having the victim computer wget the backsh script and run it, as opposed to just typing everything out? Is it just to be faster?
Yeah, that's basically it. I mean, we could. It could be a single, if we did that, it would be a single stage payload.
Yeah.
And you could use like...
I mean, we've done that previously. Like, we've already done a bunch of episodes where we take the Bash Bunny and we just type everything, all the commands that backsh is going to be using right there on the Bash Bunny. But so this is calling it, this is making it just slightly faster.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, if you wanted to make it a single stage, you could use a technique like echo to EOF. I'll show you that. Basically,
End of file.
You could say echo blah blah or waka waka to EOF. And now...
Did you just say blah blah waka waka?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, just
and then you
making
could do, you know, your /bin/sh, and you could say like, I don't know, ls-tech la. Or tac la slash, I don't know.
Okay.
It's the best shell script ever.
Got it.
And then EOF, right? And if I had actually put that, if I had actually done that, redirected into a file, it would create a new file, and then you'd have a file in the system now that you can execute. It would just take a lot longer.
Well, let's walk through backsh, because we should probably know what's going on there.
Right, so back.sh, what you're actually running, this is the, you know, the second stage of it, is basically creating a configuration directory in tilde, so in your home, and it's called .config, right? So that should already be there, but it's creating a new directory in there called sudo. Then, hey, guess what? Using that same EOF technique, in fact, I'm sorry, it's not echo, it's cat. EOF into that file. So basically, it's using the same technique I just showed, except correctly, and it's saying, put all of this contents up until you get to the word EOF, put this. Why can I not get my mouse to... Anyway, you get the idea. All of that into this file right here, right? This file called sudo.
File.
Then it's going to make it executable by giving it a chmod u + x to that file. So now it's an executable, and then it checks whether or not you have a .bash profile. And if you do have a .bash profile, it's going to export the path to that thing to your bash profile at the end, or if you have a .bash rc, it'll do the same thing.
What?
So whether or not you're on a Linux or a Mac, you can see where this is going.
Yes, I can. That's
a little
awesome.
demo?
That's so cool.
Because I've already done this against my machine. It's owned.
Well, okay, yeah. But I do have a question.
Yeah.
Now. Okay, so I love that it's cross-platform. I think that's amazing. It's great that you can do it for both Mac or Linux. But I know that you were also a little worried that it might not work on your Linux box because you're using GNOME 3 instead of Unity, and it mentions Unity. So what do you do?
Oh, right. Yeah, because we were talking about that run extension.
Yeah.
And so if we take a look back at the payload here.
Does it matter with GNOME 3?
Kind of. So here's the thing, right? This run extension will accept OS X, it'll accept Unity, it'll accept Windows. And in fact, if we go back to payloads, and I'll pull up the extensions and pull up the run extension, basically what this extension does is it says, hey, here's the function, it's called run. And it has a case for Win, it has a case for OS X, and it has a case for Unity. And basically it's a shortcut so you don't have to type all of this stuff out each time. And for the case of Unity, what it's going to do is it's going to type Alt F2, delay for a second, and then type in whatever you pass to it, delay for a second, and then press enter, right? Whereas on Windows, it's going to use a different technique. It's going to use GUI R to pull up the dialog, delay for a second, type in what you want, and then hit enter. And then on OS X, it's going to do the spotlight thing.
Yeah.
The reason that I say Unity is because Alt F2 I know is built into Unity.
Yeah, it is. I just did it on mine.
I use GNOME 3 because I love GNOME. And if I do Alt F2, I get this dialog right here.
Oh.
So I guess I could say Unity, but I don't. I could say just Linux, but I'm not confident in that. Because there's so many window managers on Linux. You got XFCE, you got KDE. I'm not cool enough to run that one, but
what I recall though, with Canonical, who just so happened to make Ubuntu, they are dropping Unity and it's being switched back to GNOME, which is great. But it's pretty cool that you can use Alt F2 on any of those against both of them.
Well, what's also cool is this is open source, so anybody can go in here and say, add another one for KDE. I don't know what the keystroke is, maybe you do. Or add one for XFCE, or whatever have you. And maybe, hopefully, there's actually some uniformity across all those Windows managers that maybe I'm not aware of. But that would be nice to be able to look at a box and be like, oh, that's Linux. Okay.
Cool.
Flip the switch over to the version of the payload that's made for your target.
Okay, so I want to see it be made even more efficient. How do you do that? I'm assuming you already know something because you're always trying to make it more efficient.
Yeah, so that's the thing about all of these is you make a payload, you put it up on Git, you throw it on the forums, and you're like,
and then somebody's like, I can do it faster.
Always.
I shortened it.
Always.
It's 42 seconds now.
So the one thought that I had, and I'm not going to go through and do this, but I want to show you a tip here if you're using Xterm, for example. So part of this payload, what it does here, if I go back all the way to this payload, here we go, is it pulls up Xterm. You can see this part where it says run Unity Xterm. And then it waits for 2 seconds, and then it types in the actual command. Well, you might actually be able to plunk the command all into that Alt F2 run dialog, if you will, if you use a TAC-E in your Xterm. Let me give you an example here. So if I just pull up my command prompt, and I do Xterm TAC-E, and then I put in quotes, touch snubs.
No.
That doesn't sound right.
Nope.
Touch something totally legit. Okay.
Hey, I'm legit.
I'm doing that.
Something inanimate?
Something inanimate. Something with permission.
There you go.
Okay, great. So this file, by the way, does not, I'll put a pound in front of that so it doesn't execute. If I ls something, I have a something cool.txt, but if I had something with, hit tab, nope. Okay, there's no file there right now with that. So let me run that Xterm again with that TAC-E and this. So basically the touch command is going to create the file, and in this case it's going to be that, right? So I'll do that, and you'll notice nothing happened.
Yeah. Well, did something happen? There's just not output?
Yeah, you got
it. I knew
All right. Because if I ls something star, you'll see there's something with permission. So it did actually do it,
cool.
but it did it invisibly in the background, which
neat.
is great because then it doesn't pop up a command prompt.
Oh, okay. Well, what about Mac? Got anything for the Mac people out there? The apples?
You know, I own a Mac, but I gave it to Sarah.
Oh.
I don't Mac too well.
We need a Mac for testing now.
We really do.
Which is weird. I don't know.
Yeah, actually, we do need a Mac for testing because there's all sorts of cool payload stuff. So I need to go and buy a Mac again. Yay! It's a great question though, because what the beautiful thing about this being an open source platform is that anyone, especially from our amazing community, can come in and contribute to that. So maybe you have some insight and you'll throw it up on GitHub or up in the forums or just even here in the comments, because I'd love to know, maybe there is a way to do some invisible terminal action up on OS X, OS X, Mac OS. I don't know what to call it even.
Okay,
I'm such a Mac noob.
We've gotten this far. Once it is all up and running though, what is your result?
Okay, so here, I'll do the demo. So the result is you nab this sudo password. So here's me doing something with sudo, which is awesome and legit. So I'll do sudo ls tac la / right? Oh my gosh. And now I have to type in my password. I'm going to type in a wrong password just so you can see what happens if it fails. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is not actually my password.
No.
I know, and it's going to say, sorry, try again. Here's the funny thing about that. Let's go back. Yeah, let's go back to the injector and take a look at that back.sh.
Okay.
Okay, right here. It says, sorry,
try
again. I'm not actually using the real sudo. It's passing. So when I actually type this in, it's saying echo, sudo password for $user, just as it said sudo password for, in my case, DK. That's my user. And once I type into it, so it's going to read that, and then it's going to echo that into the real sudo, which lives in /usr/bin/sudo, right? And then based on whether or not it exits successfully or not. So this is saying if the exit code equals 1, meaning it was not successful, then it's actually going to say echo the user, their password, and the word invalid over to this config file.
Oh my gosh.
And say, sorry, try again. Right? And if it's not, and if it's not equal to 1, meaning it was successful, then it's going to do the same thing and put the word valid there in this config, and then go ahead and actually run it. So now I'll type in my real password, and there we go. I'm looking at my home directory. I could also do sudo apt-get install lolcat because I already did that.
Wow.
But lolcat.
You never know the difference.
What
about Nyan Cat?
Why is you know what? Demo fail. Now I need to figure out what's going on with my lolcat. But more importantly, if I go over to .config and cd over to sudo.
Oh, I think you need output for lolcat, maybe. Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Told you.
Oh, you know what? It was a different one. It was in the previous recording.
Yeah.
Where we messed up, and it was Nyan Cat.
You should show them what it does.
Sudo apt-get install Nyan Cat, which I did last recording, and it was awesome because I just guessed it would be in the repo. And it is.
Yes!
And it's amazing. And it says you have been yanned for so many seconds.
Oh, that's amazing.
This is a payload waiting to happen, by the way.
That's amazing.
A payload, all it does is install Nyan Cat and just full screen it.
And just forever.
Or replace somebody's bootloader with this.
Maybe can't escape. Is there a way to set it so you can't escape out of it?
You could probably run a command that would like redirect the keyboard output or like just disable the keyboard input or something like that.
Yeah, that's perfect, of course.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's awesome. Super cool.
So here's what it looks like though, when it's all said and done.
Yes.
Here's that sudo bash script. I can cat that, and it's just like what we were looking at over here, right? And if I now cat that sudo.config, haha, my username, my password, and valid, or when I tried 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, invalid.
You're using the password lame password.
Shannon, I've been using the password lame password since 2005.
Well, now I know how to get into all your accounts.
It's true.
This is cool. I think it's great, and it's kind of scary. So I say we hook up Oxus with some Hak5 gear. How about a $100 gift certificate? What do you think of that?
Already on it.
Perfect.
In fact, you remember how last week I was complaining about how GitHub makes it really difficult to determine the email address of a developer so that I can hit them up and be like,
Yep.
dude, thanks for the contribution, thanks for the
Right.
awesome payload.
And I was like,
here's some
oh.
techno bucks, as it were.
I was like, yeah, you could just like, I don't know, use Keybase and then verify your identity with like Twitter, and then you could ask them on Twitter. But that's such a workaround.
Also, Oxus isn't on Keybase. However, he or she, like me, is using their email address in their public profile on GitHub and using GitHub's API. You just pop into your URL bar, api.github.com/user/whatever that username is, and if you give it a /event/public, you'll get all of this fancy JSON, which
What?
includes
Oh, that's
email.
hilarious.
Right?
I'm
There you go.
so glad I signed up with my public email. That's a good thing.
No, it is good because now you know you can email me, Darren@hak5.org.
That's awesome.
Or you can email Shannon.
Shannon@hak5.org.
Or you can email feedback or leave a comment below. It's feedback@hak5.org, and that's the domain where you can find all of our awesome episodes of Hak5, including Hack Tip, which if you want to learn a lot more Bash, you can find that. Shannon does a great job on that show. ThreatWire, Tech Thing, Metasploit Minutes, so much good stuff.
And if you want to support us and get your own Bash Bunny as well, so you can try this payload at home, you can always go to hackshop.com to get that. And thank you so much for the support to everybody who does support us over at the Hack Shop.
Yeah, it enables us to do the podcast and make even more awesome Hak5 gear. Wow, that was a really fun one.
Yeah, that was really cool.
I can't wait to show you guys some other fun techniques next week. What is going on?
I forgot, I almost said I forgot. This has been sitting here for like ages, and I completely kept on skipping over it because you were gone.
Oh, sorry.
But I got a gift from a fan.
Ooh.
You can send gifts to at hack5.org/address. This one is, he says, KM6FPEDEKA2PBT. That's so cute.
Okay, is that like?
That's like, hello, D, hello.
Oh,
It's
this
so
is
cute.
this is the ham radio stuff.
It's ham radio. So he says,
Okay.
hi Snubs, congrats on getting your license. Here are some goodies from WC2FD, the 721st Mechanized Contest Battalion. So I got a t-shirt, I got his favorite course code on a disc. So this is Morse code, which is great. I'm super excited
it's your
about that.
code.
He said, pro tip, never look at written
CW.
dots and dashes, do it all with your ears. So that's a really good thing to know,
Oh.
which nobody wrote that down. I had to find out because somebody told me. And then he also sent his QSL cards, which I got one from my Elmer, but these are really cool.
Oh, that's for when you
And
make a
some postcards.
contact.
Yes, exactly. And
so
the
cool.
t-shirt, I gotta show you the t-shirt. It's
This
great.
is
It's a little
great.
big for me, so I don't know. It's gonna be PJs probably. But check out the back.
Hey.
Look at that antenna.
You know what I love about
Isn't that
this?
cool?
It just reminds me of the amazing work that hams and other amateurs in this space do for like disaster relief and things of
Yeah.
that nature. Like they are like the Red Cross of radio.
Yes, they
I
are.
hope that comes across right.
Oh, well, it's true. I mean, seriously, they do a lot of emergency response. So thank you so much, Rob. Really, really appreciate the gift. Hack5.org/address is the place where you can send stickers for our wall from all of your community goodness and anything else that you would like to share with us.
Hey, we can get through those now that I'm back from Jakarta.
I know, finally. I
Yeah,
have like
you
a
notice
slew
I'm
of
wearing
them
a
I'm
little,
ready to get through.
Can you see that? Yeah.
Nice, very cool.
That's actually Jakarta. That's what it looked like through my hotel window.
That's so cool.
Anyway.
I like it.
All right, well that just about wraps up this week's episode of Hack5 in the studio, no less, with the Bash Bunny. Oh my.
Thanks for sticking with us
geez.
for
Yeah.
our 23rd season.
Oh, right?
Wow, we're like,
Wow.
what, The Simpsons?
No. Because I don't know what that would make you. Or me. But somebody with Photoshop is going to show us, and it's going to be interesting. With that, I'm Darren Kitchen.
I'm Shannon Morse.
Trust your Technolust. If you get a great idea, bring it to the web the way Shannon and I do and head over to domain.com. They've got an epic domain discovery system that helps you find the perfect domain name and get it up and online in no time flat. Super simple domain discovery process, checkout process, meaning your ideas come to the interwebs the way that we do. And you know what? Because domain.com has been hooking us up for the last, I don't even know how many years. They want to hook you up with a special coupon code. It's HAK5 and it saves you 20% at checkout over at domain.com. And if you don't need one this very moment, you know what you can do this very moment, please, thank you, is to tweet at domain.com and say, hey, thanks for supporting Hack5 all these years. When you think domain names, think domain.com. I really don't want to become a Simpsons character. I'd rather be... Oh, why did that just die?
It does that sometimes.
Okay.
It's a crappy
Oh,
TV.
shame, we lost the blooper from the previous. Maybe we can just put it in.
What was the blooper?
The thing, the phone, the thing just like.
Oh, that's
anyway,
right. Your
yeah.
thing's. You know what? I'll put it in because it's so weird.
With that, I'm Darren Kitchen.
Yeah. I'm Shannon Morse.
Trust your Technolust.
I couldn't find the network connection.
Why is it talking to
Who's
you?
talking?
Was that your thing? Your watch? Or
I don't know. Yes, my watch is talking to me.
why was your
I don't know, because it's possessed.
That was creepy, man.
No, I love this watch. It was
Can't find a
beautiful
network
gift.
connection.
Yeah.
Oh, that was weird.
Maybe she's tracking me with it. Dun dun dun.
Till next time.
Plot thickens.
To be continued.